Do you know what happens if an older man in America completely stops masturbating? No one tells you this. No one dares to look directly at this truth. But today Dr. Authority, a practicing urologist in California with over 20 years of experience, will tell you something that could change the way you view aging and sexual health. I've consulted with thousands of patients across the U.S., from New York to Texas, from former Marines to retirees living quietly in suburban neighborhoods. These were men who once were the pillars of their families, once strong, once confident, until they passed the age of 60. One day they start to feel like they're no longer themselves. They feel tired. They can't sleep. They become irritable, lose their appetite, feel emotionally scattered. And there's one thing most of them don't dare to say until I ask, "When was the last time you masturbated?" They go silent, eyes down, a slight shake of the head as if confessing something shameful. But let me say this clearly. There is nothing wrong. There is nothing shameful about still wanting to connect with your own body. Because when an older man completely stops tending to his physical needs, it's not just a lack of pleasure. It's a rejection of self. It's the moment he loses connection with the most vital survival hormone, testosterone. You see, testosterone isn't just the hormone of sex. It's the hormone of vitality, of masculinity, of drive, of the energy to get out of bed in the morning and feel like you still matter. When you stop masturbating, testosterone levels gradually drop, and along with it comes a decline in memory, clarity, cardiovascular endurance, muscle mass, and even self-esteem. Let me tell you about Mr. John, a 67-year-old patient living in Austin, Texas. He came to see me for frequent nighttime urination, mild chronic back pain, and constant fatigue. At first, he didn't dare mention anything personal, but after an honest conversation, he admitted it had been almost 8 months since he'd touched himself. When I asked why, he just gave a sad smile. "I'm old, Doc. What's the point in thinking about stuff like that anymore?" I took his hand and said, "This isn't fantasy. This is health. This is your right to live fully, physically and emotionally. What I'm sharing here isn't to encourage you to do something that goes against your personal values or beliefs. I'm saying this so you understand one important truth. Sexuality doesn't end with retirement. Emotion, pleasure, the connection with your own body has no age limit. And science has shown regular moderate masturbation in older adults improves blood circulation, protects the prostate, reduces stress, improves sleep and mood. It helps you live more truthfully, not just survive waiting for the days to pass. If you're watching this video and feel even a hint of resonance, I want you to know you are not alone. There are many other men in your situation, but not all of them have the chance to hear what I'm about to share next. Little-known truths, silent yet undeniable consequences of ignoring your own sexual needs. So stay with me. I'm not just a doctor. I'm your companion on this journey through aging. A journey you can absolutely walk with strength, joy, and complete freedom. When we pass the age of 60, something begins to happen very quietly. No one talks about it, but everyone feels it. It's the change in physical sensation, in desire, and in the way we connect with ourselves. For many men living in the U.S., especially after retirement, the empty, lonely stretches of time and lack of social interaction gradually lead them to forget or reject their personal sexual life. And one of the earliest signs of that broken connection is the complete cessation of masturbation. I've spoken with hundreds of patients from California to Florida. What do they all have in common? They all believe masturbation is no longer necessary. "I have no one to share with. I live alone. My wife passed away 5 years ago. What's the point of doing that now?" Or, "At this age, it just feels weird." These are the kinds of things I hear all the time. But scientific truth proves otherwise. When an older man stops all sexual activity, including self-pleasure, the body begins to undergo a series of changes. Testosterone levels drop rapidly, blood circulation in the pelvic area weakens, the risk of prostate enlargement increases, sleep disturbances, mild depression, and anxiety gradually appear. According to medical statistics in the U.S., over 48% of men over 60 have experienced at least one episode of erectile dysfunction or severe loss of libido, and most of those cases are closely related to a lack of healthy sexual activity. I remember Mr. Bill, 72 years old, living in a small town in Pennsylvania. He used to be a high school teacher, now retired and living alone after his wife passed away. When he came to see me, he was suffering from lower abdominal pain, difficulty urinating, and a gloomy mood. After ruling out serious medical conditions, I asked him, "Do you still masturbate?" He blushed, then quietly said, "I thought I was too old for that kind of thing." But when I explained that this activity helps with circulation, reduces pressure on the prostate, and balances hormones, he finally understood. After just 2 months of lifestyle adjustments, light physical therapy, and reconnecting with himself, Mr. Bill saw a remarkable improvement both physically and emotionally. What's the real issue? It's the silence. It's the quiet shame that causes so many men to deny themselves the right to enjoy healthy sexual well-being. It's the cultural gap, where modern American society still hesitates to speak openly about the sexual needs of the elderly. And it's exactly that silence that's quietly destroying millions of lives entering their golden years. There's a medical truth I often repeat to my older patients. Masturbation is not a sin, nor is it something to be ashamed of. It is a natural and necessary part of elderly healthcare. The important thing to understand here is that masturbation, when done properly and in moderation, not only relieves sexual tension, but also provides real physiological benefits for older adults in the U.S., especially after the age of 60. First, let's talk about circulation. When an older man masturbates, the body activates both the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, increasing heart rate, temporarily raising blood pressure, and improving blood flow throughout the body, especially in the pelvic region. This creates an ideal condition for maintaining the health of the penile blood vessels, an area particularly sensitive to aging. Keeping healthy blood flow in this region helps reduce the risk of erectile dysfunction, a condition that, according to CDC statistics, affects more than 52% of American men between the ages of 40 and 70. Another major benefit lies in prostate health. During ejaculation, even through masturbation, the fluids that accumulate in the prostate are released, reducing internal pressure on the gland. This is especially helpful for those showing signs of benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, a common condition among American men after 60. Studies show that men who maintain regular sexual activity, including masturbation, have significantly lower risks of prostatitis and prostate cancer. In addition, masturbation helps stimulate the production of testosterone, that precious hormone that gradually declines over time. As testosterone drops, older adults may feel fatigued, lose muscle mass, gain belly fat, especially in men over 65 with waistlines larger than 40 inches, and experience reduced focus and short-term memory. Maintaining natural testosterone levels through masturbation is a simple yet powerful way to help the body retain vitality and masculine energy. We can't overlook the benefits to sleep and mental health. After masturbation and ejaculation, the body releases a wave of hormones like oxytocin, prolactin, and endorphins, compounds that promote relaxation, reduce stress, and improve sleep quality. In fact, many older patients have told me they sleep more soundly, wake up less often at night, and feel significantly more relaxed after releasing tension. This is incredibly important, as insomnia is one of the leading causes of mild depression and cognitive decline in elderly Americans. A vivid example is Mr. Charles, 69, who lives in Sacramento, California. He came to my clinic suffering from persistent fatigue, poor sleep, and signs of mild hypertension. After ruling out serious cardiovascular conditions, I recommended he adjust his daily habits, including reconnecting with his personal sexual health through healthy masturbation, about 1 to 2 times per week. 6 weeks later, he returned with brighter energy, consistent sleep, stabilized blood pressure, and most importantly, he said, "I feel like myself again, even at almost 70. Especially for older individuals who live alone, are divorced or widowed, masturbation also serves as a way to maintain a sense of autonomy and avoid emotional isolation. It's the body's way of reminding you, I'm still alive, I still feel, I still connect with myself. In today's world where older adults in America face record high levels of loneliness, nearly 1 in 3 people over 65 live alone, keeping even a personal connection with one's own body is truly valuable. I always tell my patients, life isn't defined by your age, but by how you take care of it every day. And masturbation, when understood correctly, is not something to hide or be ashamed of. It's an act of self-care, a form of self-love, something that anyone at any age absolutely deserves. There's something very few people dare to say out loud, but I, as a urologist with over 20 years of experience working in the US, must share this with you honestly. Completely stopping masturbation in old age is not simply quitting a habit, it's actually losing a part of your mental health, physical vitality, and personal identity. You see, in medicine, there's a concept called silent physiological degeneration, meaning the body gradually weakens without sending any clear signals. This is what happens to most older adults when they stop sexual activity, especially masturbation. The body begins to fall asleep. Blood flow in the pelvic area decreases, the tissues in the genital region lose elasticity, leading to fibrosis of erectile tissue, permanent erectile dysfunction, and a total loss of physical sensation. I remember Mr. Richard, a U.S. veteran living in San Diego. He was 74 years old, retired, living with his daughter. When he came in, he had no major medical conditions, stable blood pressure, normal heart function. But he was clearly depressed, had lost interest in life, even in fishing, something he once loved deeply. After many conversations, I discovered he hadn't touched himself in nearly 3 years. When I asked why, he simply whispered, "I'm old, Doc. I just don't see the point anymore." And that's the greatest danger. When you believe you no longer have a reason to connect with yourself, you're cutting off a vital life current within. Prolonged cessation of masturbation leads to a sharp decline in testosterone, and along with it a cascade of consequences: weakening muscles, fatigue after walking just a few blocks, lower belly fat accumulation, slower memory recall, and even increased risk of high blood pressure and osteoporosis, especially in those who don't exercise regularly. It's not just physical. The deeper issue lies in psychology. So many of my older patients fall into a state of lost self-worth, feeling like they're no longer men. They're afraid to talk about it for fear of being mocked, thinking it's ridiculous to bring that up at this age. But it's exactly that silence that isolates them further, making them prone to depression, chronic insomnia, and a sense of drifting through life without knowing what they're still living for. In the US, tens of thousands of cases related to declining male sexual function go undetected each year, simply because patients don't speak up. And masturbation, which may sound simple, is actually a tool for early detection of abnormal changes: loss of sensation, difficulty ejaculating, pain in the perineum, etc. These signs, if noticed early, allow for timely medical intervention. But if you're no longer connected to your body, you're ignoring one of the most important health indicators in old age. Another example: Mr. Walter, 68, a former chef in Minnesota, shut himself off after his wife passed, living alone in a small apartment. He barely spoke to anyone, just lingered around his radio. He came to see me for back pain, but during the physical therapy sessions, I realized he was emotionally disconnected, not because of the pain, but because he had neglected himself for too long. I encouraged him to rebuild self-care habits, eating better, taking walks, and gently, regularly masturbating. After 3 months, he was back in the kitchen, even starting a class teaching Italian dishes to fellow seniors in his community center. This story isn't just about doing it or not. It's about whether you're truly living with your full human self still intact. When you completely shut down your sexual vitality, you're not just losing a function. You're cutting off the deepest connection with your own being. And the saddest part is, most people don't even realize it until it's too late. When we talk about sexual health in old age, the first thing I want you to remember is this: age is not a reason to give up on emotion, nor is it a reason to stop taking care of yourself. As a urologist who has worked for many years with elderly patients in the US, I can confidently say those who stay connected with themselves, including their personal sexual life, tend to have better quality of life, sharper minds, and most importantly, a greater sense of joy. So if you've ever stopped masturbating completely, or if you've always thought that's not important anymore, then here is my advice. Clear, simple, and perfectly aligned with real life in America. 1. Listen to your body and let go of stigma. You don't need to do it on a schedule, and you don't need to force yourself to prove anything. Start by listening to your emotions. When you feel lonely, tired, or struggle to sleep, don't rush to reach for sleeping pills. Ask yourself whether that might be your body's way of signaling a need to reconnect. I often tell my patients, masturbation isn't just a sexual act. It's a form of communication between you and yourself. Step away from old societal taboos. In America, where individuality and freedom are respected, you have every right to care for yourself in whatever way suits you, as long as it's safe and healthy. 2. How often is enough? Many patients ask me, Doctor, at this age, how many times a week is normal? My answer is always, there's no one-size-fits-all number. But if you want a reference point for people over 60, masturbating 1 to 3 times per week is completely normal and healthy. What matters most is that you feel relaxed and at ease afterward. No pain, no fatigue, no guilt. 3. How do you start again? If you've stopped for a long time and feel it's difficult to rekindle that connection, start gently. No pressure, no expectations. It can be as simple as placing your hand on your body, feeling your breath, your emotions, and letting your instincts guide you. You might use calming music, a private space, or a warm bath to help your body relax. Don't treat this as a technical act. Think of it as a moment of emotional self-care. 4. Don't hesitate to seek professional support. In the US, psychological and sexual counseling for seniors is not uncommon. If you find it hard to access emotions or face challenges like erectile dysfunction, ejaculation issues, or loss of sensation, don't hesitate to contact a urologist or sex therapist. This is not a sign of personal weakness. This is health, and you fully deserve to receive the right medical support. 5. Make it part of your healthy lifestyle. Just like walking, eating well, or having your blood pressure checked regularly, maintaining your personal sexual activity is an important part of a healthy lifestyle in old age. It helps preserve testosterone, improves circulation, and keeps your mind positive. And most importantly, it reminds you every single day, I'm still alive, I still feel, I'm still myself. If you've made it this far, I'd like to take a moment, not as a doctor, but as a friend, a companion on this journey, because you had the courage to stay, to listen to a topic that most older adults tend to avoid. And that alone is enough for me to say, I'm genuinely proud of you. You know, in more than 2 decades of practicing medicine, I've seen far too many people enter their 60s, 70s, even 80s in silence. They don't complain, they don't cry, but their eyes drift and their sense of self slowly erodes, because society, or even they themselves, have made them believe, I'm not me anymore. And that breaks my heart. But you are different. You're here. You're exploring. You're opening yourself to a possibility that aging is not the end, but a new journey, one where you can live more deeply, more kindly with yourself. And if there's one thing I want you to take from this video, it's this. You have the right. You have the right to feel, to live fully, to love, even if that love is simply directed at yourself. Don't let anyone convince you that masturbation in old age is wrong. What's truly wrong is abandoning yourself, is ignoring the signals your body is sending, is letting loneliness and emptiness swallow up the days you still have. I once asked a 73-year-old patient, "Are you afraid of death?" He looked at me and said, "No, I'm afraid of living and no longer feeling alive." That answer haunted me for a long time. And from that moment, I began creating videos like this to remind you, you are still alive and you deserve to truly live. So after this video, I hope you do one small thing, just one small thing. Take 10 minutes for yourself every day. No phone, no TV. Just you with yourself. Place your hand over your heart, breathe deeply, feel the rhythm of life still flowing inside you. And if you feel the need, don't deny it. Masturbate with gentleness, with intention, without haste. Not for gratification, but for connection. Not to prove anything, but to remind yourself, I am still here, I am still me. If this video touched something inside you, I hope you'll share it. Send it to a friend, a brother, a father, a husband, someone you love and want to see living more fully each day. Because messages like this, if not shared, will remain buried beneath layers of silence, shame, and misunderstanding.